YouTube. Well, we have another nice morning, a little cloudy today, but high cirrus clouds, so it means generally good weather. And a little freshness in the air here now at 10 o'clock in the morning, but rapidly warming up, so a nice day coming along. A lot of noise, I'm afraid, from the builders and farmers and people working in the garden. But I hope you can hear some of this charbonnier harpsichord sweet music. I wished I lived in a castle where, you know, this would be just so lovely to listen to this music in the right setting. But I suppose, you know, to an Englishman, his home is a castle. And now that they've put an aluminium bridge across my driveway for the work they're doing on the drains, I suppose I have a drawbridge. Well, this is number 4 in my Sweet Bomb mini-series, trying to find extremely sweet aromatic blends, or aromatic blends which you don't have to search a bit for the flavour, where basically the tin note and the room note equal what you taste. That's what I was looking for. So, number 4 is Gawith&Hoggarth Caramel and Coffee American Blend. There's a website in UK called Cigars Limited, and it's also called Timaeus, and I buy a lot of different things there, whiskies, bourbons and tobaccos, and this one is one that they offer, and they've actually done a review on it, and I will put a link to that in the bucket, as they say, below, so you can look at that. But they actually said this is actually one of those more popular aromatics, especially for beginners. Using my Federation Zippo. Actually, it's not a Zippo, it's Star, I think it's called. Probably made in China, but actually works well with a nice Thunderbird butane insert for pipes, so not bad. Doesn't quite have that ching that Zippos do, but does the job. And Tampa today is a Deco 8 Tampa, which I just love these Deco 8. Down a bit. For some reason my microphone loves to pick the music up and not me. Don't know what that's saying, but I tried at this level. Now, as you just noticed, it's going now, but it is a bit sort of fire resistant on the first light, and I'm always with, as you know, with aromatics I try to minimally light it. I just want a little cherry to glow in the middle and roast the tobacco, and I don't want to set fire to the thing that a flame is on the tobacco. Very often I find that impairs the taste. But this one you might have to do a couple of lights to get started. It's that's how it looks. It's almost all black Cavendish, but it does have apparently a little tiny bit of Virginia. You see, it's just a very few flakes of something a bit lighter in there. Very flowable. It's not It's very dark, but it doesn't look excessively topped or greasy or oily, and to touch flows very nicely. It doesn't clump or anything. Coming out of the tin is slightly moist. You could dry it for like up to half an hour or so, but almost at the point you could take it from the tin and put it straight in your pipe if you prefer not to have absolutely dry tobacco. I have dried this for about 20 minutes, something like that, but then very easy to pack. Has a lovely tin note, sweet and caramelly, and a little hint of chocolate or creme brulee somewhere there, and those are also reflected in the smoke note, as I call it, or the room note. So it's definitely one of those sort of crowd pleasers, and sort of the wife would like it, and my wife did say it's very nice, this one. Using again my meerschaum pipe, 9mm. Just to try and keep that maybe constant versus the last one, which was Eileen's Dream, of course, which was absolute, so far a bit the star of this series. Very closely followed by Multi Dolce. It's quite stiff actually mechanically. It's a ready rub, they describe it as a kind of yeah, looks very much like a ready rub, but they're quite stiff, and for that reason you might have to pack it down a little bit to make sure that the burn and the char catches on the rest of the tobacco, and I think that's one of the reasons it's a little bit, let's say, fire resistant. That's better, but when it's going, it does generate a fair amount of smoke. So the touch of the tobacco is, you can feel that little bit of moisture there, but it's really not much. And some reviewers in tobacco reviews said they almost just didn't bother to dry it. Leaf, Black Cavendish, bit of Virginia, very little Virginia, I think. The casing is caramel and coffee. Well, what I found is it's very mild, and you do get a bit of caramel there and sweetness, yes. Coffee you have to search for, yes, let's say a little bit around the edges, tiny bit. Good drink, of course, to have with this tobacco. We're off to the races now, generating quite a bit of smoke, so once it's going, it's alright and easy to regulate. You have to just remember to tamp. There's a little bit of creaminess there, a tiny bit of maybe depth in the caramel taste. Is there some treacle or toffee, but not much depth in terms of those flavour nuances which were so dramatic, let's say, with Multi Dolce and Eileen's Dream. Now, this is my 6th bowl of this, and during a recent Zoom meeting I had 3 bowls during that wonderful Professor Jeremiah Zoom meeting. You should go to those, they were great fun. And I thought I would describe this as low nick, which a lot of people did also on tobacco reviews. But actually after 3 bowls I was buzzing a bit and getting a little ring in my ear. So I would call it low to medium. It's a little bit deceptive, I think. The nick is there, but you wouldn't think it after maybe one bowl. And actually during that same meeting I was using a briar. This is not at the level of ghosting, I think, a pipe. It's actually quite a mildly flavoured tobacco. A little bit, this is one of those problematic aromatics that has beautiful descriptions of flavour and the name, but the power isn't there in the flavour, though it's a very good, nice, mild, sweet smoke, absolutely. So it's not going to bite you unless you push it, and because you get a decent amount of smoke, I think it's easy to regulate, and a meerschaum always helps. So in my briar, it did get a bit warm sometimes when I wasn't paying attention. In a meerschaum, I think you've got a bit more manoeuvring room to get away with it. But if you, as I did that evening, 3 bowls in 2.5 hours or something like that, you know, if you push it, it'll bite, but only if you're not paying attention and just going too fast. But at a regular pace, no problem. Now, I was trying to look for things that might be like this. Not many people referred it to something that they knew. Other examples of high black Cavendish sweetly topped tobaccos would be Hearth and Home caramel apple pie, for example, or Cornell and Deal chocolate Cavendish. Those got respectively tobacco reviews a 2.2 and a 2.5, lower than this one. This one scored 2.9 on tobacco reviews, which meant it's actually in the middle of the very good range. Not excellent, but very good. So though it's a little bit underpowered, it's a very pleasant smoke. Good quality tobacco there. The last 20% is where the flavour tends to thin out, and you're getting more just the black Cavendish, but and a little bit of Virginia. But quite often, not always, but quite often, I don't usually smoke everything to 100%. I'll leave 10% in the bowl. Sometimes I'll de-ash it and try and get that last bit. It always depends on the tobacco. But sometimes I find just trying to get that last bit, you get a lot of harshness, and even if you've tried to get the ash out, you still get something which is so charred, it's not so good anymore. So I'm prepared to sacrifice sometimes a little bit. That varies a lot. I find with burleys, for example, I mostly can, heavy burley blends, I can take them to the end. Some Virginias too, it always depends. So I gave this a 2.8, a little bit lower than tobacco reviews, because there's just this, you know, it is not a sweet bomb. It doesn't make it in that type of what I was looking for, but it is a very good tobacco to smoke. I may well buy this again, and I will smoke it when I'm looking for something gentle, mildly sweet, a little bit caramelly, and I'll have it with a nice coffee drink, and that will be fine. You know, it's a good buy, but it's not we're not crossing the line here to be a sweet bomb. And that's my challenge, because there are so many beautifully described aromatics which sound like they must be sweet bombs, you know, they must really taste like, with a description like that, and they just don't have it. But nothing that will overwhelm you, and that's often what was written here for this blend. Don't expect too much. That must have been in 5 or 6 comments from people, and I see what they mean. When would you smoke it? You could easily have this as an all day if you wanted, because it's mild enough. As I did in the Zoom meeting, with a little bourbon, glass of bourbon or cognac. Kind of one you can smoke really almost any time. So I'm about a third the way down, or 20% way down the bowl, and this is where the flavour, of course, starts to intensify a little bit. The filter is, you know, saturate what it's going to take out of the flavour. It's done, so the flavour should now come for, not reduced, but full power through. It's my neighbour. And absolutely that caramel, little bit of treacle, I think. That's what I'm getting out of it. Just coming through. Other videos that have been done. A chap called Adam Banks did it 6 years ago or 7 years ago. A review of this blend, and Termaeus or C.Gars Limited. They go under both names. I think the channel is Cigars Limited. Did one 2 years ago, and that's actually who I bought it from, Termaeus, and he says it's actually quite popular, especially for new smokers who want to try some aromatics, and that makes sense. A little bit tricky with the beginning light, but bit of practice, you're through that, and it's mild and not so bitey. Like I said, can surprise you if you're really not careful. But very pleasant, you know. But the real issue for me is that space is so occupied. Very pleasant, very nice, you know. We're sometimes looking for more than that, and they're quite hard to find, I think. Many of them got the tin note and the room note, very nice and clear. But the flavour often slips back into a kind of almost mediocre, yeah, that's nice, that's sweet, yeah, you know. So I challenge all the blenders out there to come up with more effective flavour bombs, but not overdo it, and don't make them chemically. Try and make the sweetness of the tobaccos and the flavours of the tobaccos work with the topping, and come up with something powerful. I see it's more successful with some of the Christmas blends, Of course, they put a lot more flavours and toppings into it, and sometimes the Halloween blends, they go up a gear, but there are very few that come near to Monte Dolce and Eileen's Dream. And if you know of any, please let me know, because I'm happy to try them. Right, so that's this one. The last one I picked based on what I'd heard about it was Boswell's Bear Blend. I will try that. That got a 3.4, so slightly higher rating, so a little more hope that will have more flavour. So today I keep it a little bit shorter. Hope you're all healthy out there, and keep healthy. Now we get the opening up coming, so the light is returning. I think the summer and the ultraviolet light has helped probably to suppress this thing a bit, but how we behave, of course, will still be important for a while long, so bear that in mind, everyone. You have all a good Friday, a lovely happy hour if you're having one, and take care. Cheers everyone, bye bye.